Hi, welcome to all of our listeners to the first inaugural recording of our podcast. My name's Dexter. I'm joined by Josh and Rob, and welcome to our very special Christmas edition of our podcast.
What are you on about?
I mean, it's Christmas is coming around the corner. What do you mean? What am I on about?
Okay, fine, but we've got probably more before Christmas, so
Okay.
Well,
maybe.
It's the 19th of December. What are you talking about?
okay, I don't know.
I mean, 19 plus 7 is 26. That's Boxing Day. Okay, we're going a bit of a tangent
Okay,
here.
fine.
Okay, and in today's episode, we're going to be discussing two things.
So
the recently released. Wait, Rob. Rob, what?
I have Spider-Verse
Okay.
and just general discussion about Marvel trailers. So
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that as well. I don't know why you're just interrupting me here.
okay,
Are we
Dexter,
gonna establish
you
like a
go on,
mutual
go on,
respect?
Dexter.
I mean, no, because that was basically it.
Okay, so
Okay, should I go back to the mission of our
no,
podcast?
no, forget that. So first thoughts about Spider-Verse.
Okay, fine.
What do we think?
I
Okay,
really liked
fine.
it.
Yeah, okay, good.
Okay, well, thanks for that.
I mean, I thought it was great. That's
Is that
that's
what you're
my
gonna
first
say?
thoughts.
Okay, I'm saying that it's the best Spider-Man film ever released.
I
and
wouldn't go that
Yeah,
far.
nor would I.
Josh, I don't know what you guys are aware, but I was actually in the middle of giving my initial thoughts.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I think it was the best Spider-Man ever released, and I might even hasten to say that it's better than any
I think that's a
MCU
very
film.
Sweeping judgment there, Dexter. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, it could be the fact that
Fresh
it's
in your mind.
just what you just watch a new film.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah.
I think in the next
I
week
think
it will.
certainly
it will
more
calm down.
unique than any MCU film, and so it certainly stands out.
Definitely.
Actually, wait, are we gonna do a non-spoilers
No.
spoilers version?
Spoiler.
No,
Yeah.
we're spoiling the whole thing.
Okay. So for everyone listening who hasn't watched the film yet, spoilers.
Yeah, what was your favourite?
Okay.
Yeah, what was your
Yeah,
favourite bit
they've
about
been
it,
warned.
Josh?
Okay. No, we're not doing that. Is someone going to give like a brief bio of like what
No.
happened, or we're just not going to do that?
I think we're just gonna go in.
Fine, okay.
For me,
Okay,
it was the visuals. Yeah, no, I mean there was a lot going on visually. I like the sort of comic book style of it.
Well, that's ridiculous from both of you. So, I mean, you guys are the type of people that are like the Aquaman film. The Aquaman film, people have said in reviews, as all about
But I think
style
this has
and no substance.
Well, I'm not saying that Spider-Man lacked substance.
Okay, but if you were to say that the best part about the film was,
Yes.
would you say that the best part of the film was the visuals?
Yes.
That's so ridiculous. Like, what you guys both the ones that complained about the 3D? Actually, yeah, Rob. Actually, did you notice that? Like, actually, because Josh says he did. I didn't really notice it at all. Apparently, some like bits of images were kind of jarring, and it was like having it's like watching a 3D
I did
film without the
notice
3D
that,
glasses.
but
Did you notice that?
No,
what I noticed
thought
more
that
was
as
that
well.
it felt like it was shot at about 12 frames a second. So you could, especially when they're swinging through the trees and Dr. Octopus is chasing after them. I thought that was very noticeable, but I thought it was good. It was.
Yeah. I mean, I had doubts from the trailer. I thought I wouldn't like that sort of almost stop motion style, but actually I thought it was good.
Yeah, I mean, you said it might give you a headache, which I think was a bit extreme, but
it didn't give me a headache. So
good.
yeah.
Can we guys? Okay, firstly, I'll talk about why I believe it's the best Spider-Man film we've ever done. Well, actually, I say we've ever done. We've done nothing. It's the best Spider-Man film they've ever released, and lots of the pros, in my opinion. Feel free to agree and disagree, but a lot of it will be wisdom. So I don't really understand any rebuttal, really. Okay, first things first. One of the good things they accomplished was, and which was very refreshing as a view, was the fact that we jump into Peter Parkers that are experienced. Actually, you know how the initial Peter Parker we're introduced to, he dies,
Yeah.
Well, basically,
that was good. I like that.
He said I've been the one and only Spider-Man for 10 years, and that's in contrast to the the Spider-Man later on voiced by Jake Johnson, who's actually been Spider-Man for 22 years. So that can actually account for the somewhat jaded nature in which Jake Johnson Spider-Man operates in. But okay, alas, I digress with all these interesting facts. The main thing, which is the main appeal of the film, is the fact that we're introduced to Spider-Men and Spider-People that actually know what they're doing. Like, it's so boring and monotonous seeing, someone actually, even though Miles Morales doesn't really know what he's doing, it was actually just refreshing to see like a Peter Parker, which would be for most audiences their most the Spider-Man they're most familiar with, know what they're doing. As in, the original Spider-Man who dies within the first 10 minutes of the film, he knows exactly what he's doing, and it's just good to see someone, unlike in Spider-Man Homecoming, by the way, where he just honestly has no idea what he's doing at all. Like, that montage when he's like, "Hey, let's go." He, like, at the end, he's like, he just falls over and he's just, "Oh, I'm good." Is that supposed to be funny?
Well, I thought it was quite funny.
I thought it was funny. Yeah, I mean,
Dex, I just don't think you have a very good sense of humor.
I think you guys just have a very childish sense of humor. Okay.
So you think it's better than Homecoming, despite
it's better than Homecoming because like Spider-Man films, there've been too many of them, and this one, unlike in Homecoming, actually makes me excited to see the characters again. It was good to see all these two different iterations of Peter Parker actually know what they're doing, and as even in Jake Johnson's Peter Parker, Peter B. Parker. Even though when we're introduced to him, we're like, this guy's an idiot. He still knows what he's doing. When they're in the bit when they look at Kingpin speaking to the character that ends up being Dr. Octopus, and he's like, "Oh, this is just typical Spider-Man stakes." It's good to see someone actually know what they're doing.
Yeah, that's refreshing. But I thought that the characters generally were a bit more shallow, and the plot was relatively. It was good. It wasn't a bad plot, but it certainly wasn't anything special. I thought.
I think because there were so many characters or so many Spider-Men going on, they had to spend less time on each of them. And so obviously with Peter B. Parker, you got quite a lot of him and he was really great. But the other ones just kind of had their tropes, and I understand they kind of had to do that. But I think Spider-Ham was the joke one. I don't even know what the robot spider thing was.
Yeah, and
Penny Parker was just the worst one. That's just what she's known as.
The black and white looked cool, but that was it.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I found a lot of the lines of Spider Noir, or whatever his name is, quite funny. But
he again was also.
I mean, he was there just for the comic relief, and it was Nick Cage being Nick Cage.
Yeah, of course. Like in the three main characters, protagonists are basically Miles Morales, Peter B. Parker, and Gwen Stacy in that order. In that's like how much significance they are in the plot. But another thing about why this film is so good, and why I was hastening to say at the very beginning about why it's better than any MCU film, is because the world building it manages to do, in this film is, it was Avengers level. And when I say Avengers, I mean Avengers 1 level.
No, it's not.
Not agree with that.
Are you kidding me? As in, Avengers had all these separate films for all these random people, and brought it all together. Actually, I'm talking some rubbish about it, but it's actually quite a good film. I really liked it. However, this film manages to do, to a lesser extent, but to a more admirable extent, like you at their very end, when Miles is saying goodbye to Gwen and Peter B. Parker, you kind of feel like they're actually a very good team together. And that's basically the same thing which they established in Avengers, but without all these prior solo films.
Yes, but I felt that it was more forced and it was less deep. So I agree that the end result is they would be a good team together, but it feels less natural, and it almost felt, and I don't know if it's because they're animated, but it felt like there's almost less chemistry between them, and it felt less believable. I know it's animated, so it's hard to compare, but do you agree with that?
I mean, I think there was chemistry, but I think the film managed to build a good world, like that says, but I'm not sure it has quite the same level of world building that an entire universe of films like the MCU has
Okay,
at
but
his
you
disposal.
got similar feelings in the bit when Miles finally discovers how to use his powers on command. You got the same feeling when he appears on screen as you did in that kind of cinematic, that classic Avengers shot in the first Avengers film where they do a circular like
Yeah.
panning of all the characters.
But if I'm honest, I actually thought that scene where he finally figures out how to use his powers when he wants was a bit sort of forced and just
No, absolutely. It was just for the sake of being there because
popped in there
because
for
they
the
needed him
plot.
to. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it didn't feel natural. It's like he
It was
could
no.
have
I
just-
mean, it was literally a matter of minutes between him not being able to do it
Yeah.
and
I
trying
thought
with
that
Peter
was
B.
too
Parker,
quick.
and then his dad comes, and then he's just able to do it all of a sudden.
I thought it was quite funny. I think they did the humor very
Yeah,
well.
no, I really like the humor.
Yeah.
And it was I don't know how exactly to like quantify it, but it was it was quite a different style than the MCU films.
Hmm.
But in terms of the humor.
It was almost like a little more sophisticated.
Yeah,
As in, like, it was less
I know
sort of
what
like it was less cheap jokes, and all of the sort of funny bits were a bit relevant to the plot. As in, like,
As in
I
the bit when he puts his hand on her shoulder. When
yeah,
his
and
uncle teaches him
also
how to do that.
the whole when he gets his hand stuck to Gwen Stacy's hair.
Okay, that's not to do with the plot.
It's not no, but it does affect their relationship in the film. Whereas in the MCU films, it's more sort of just like joke for being
one-liner sort of things
to make the characters more 3D, which I think is a perfectly good thing. But it doesn't affect the plot. I can't really think of an example when it does, but I'm sure they have some in the MCU. But it wasn't as frequent as it was in this film.
Another reason why I think that this film is better than Spider-Man: Homecoming, particularly, and I just thought about it again, is the fact that I think it captures the joy of being Spider-Man a lot more than in Spider-Man: Homecoming. Even when the jaded Peter B. Parker introduces himself, there's still a kind of bigger than life version. Obviously, it goes without saying that the first introduction of Spider-Man who dies, he just like loves it. But like when they're swinging, it's got that same like funness to it, which I don't even like. Did it even swing much in Spider-Man: Homecoming?
No, I agree. So in Homecoming, it almost feels like
Terrible.
Tom Holland could play any young superhero. It doesn't have to be Spider-Man. Whereas this was very much a Spider-Man film, and I don't really know how to express that better.
I think that I get what you mean in that in Spider-Man: Homecoming, he kind of just has the struggles of any young superhero,
and I think he does it really well.
I'm not really sure about that, but in Spider-Man: Into the Spider-Verse, it's a film about the hero, specifically Spider-Man. Which is what, and it's kind of shown in the kind of somewhat ensemble cast as well, in that you have all these different versions of Spider-Man, but they're all inherently Spider-Man like hero wise, and it kind of talks and like one of the main messages of the film, the bit when they say that anyone could be Spider-Man, and it kind of show, and this film, I think that's like the main philosophy behind the character, and this film encapsulates it a lot more than any of the others, especially Amazing Spider-Man 2, when not anyone could be Spider-Man. Actually, Josh, Rob, did you ever watch that actually?
No, I haven't, Dexter.
Oh, okay,
I haven't.
right.
Have you ever finished Thor: The Dark World?
No, but no
or
one
Ant-Man
has.
and the Wasp.
Or Ant-Man and the Wasp, exactly.
Okay, Josh, we'll get this on a later episode. We'll talk about those two specific films. But yeah, and another thing which they did really well in this film was that they showed actually within like a montage, actually within only being introduced to the original Spider-Man for like 5-10 minutes, you see the impact he has within the city, and it didn't feel shoehorned in at all. Actually, Josh and I were talking about this earlier, in that in Justice League, Rob, which you just never watched, they tried to make out that Superman was this crazy, amazing superhero that everyone loved, when Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, more so the Batman v Superman film, kind of showed that the public were really 50-50 towards him until he died. And even then, I don't really see why the public would suddenly really like him, because from their perspective, he's just some guy that's caused insane amounts of damage towards the city. Whereas in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, when Peter Parker dies, you really feel the loss that all these New Yorkers feel.
Yeah, no, I agree that, and especially in Homecoming, it was almost like a sort of montage of him helping the old lady like navigate down the street, and the bike scene where the bike gets strung up in the air. It was just sort of a comedy section, whereas this was a bit more integral to the plot.
Yeah.
Okay, and anything else you have to say about it?
No, I don't think I have much else to add. Just it was a very good film and
Yeah,
definitely worth seeing.
good. I enjoyed it, and it was quite unique.
Oh, I love the post-credit scene as well.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we have to
That was
talk about
fantastic.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, is anyone going to describe it?
no.
I think it was a perfect
funny that
end
they
credit
used-
scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's just got a good mix of kind of teasing a future film
Yeah.
with a new character who comic fans will know and be excited about, while also, I mean, just being a meme.
Yeah, it was good actually. I mean, Rob didn't particularly understand anything that was going
No,
on.
I
Really.
didn't,
You
but
didn't know who Miguel was. You didn't know who Spider-Man 2099 was.
Right.
So I don't know
But
why
I
you're
got the
agreeing
meme.
because it completely went over your head. But
Well, I got the
it
meme.
was a really
because
refreshingly good end credit scene.
It works from both the comedy and the world building perspective quite well.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because that's kind of the MCU either has your sort of joke one,
Captain
like
America.
the end of Homecoming.
Oh,
Yeah.
that just
Or it's got your
encapsulated how
world.
much of a film that was. Oh wait, I'm not allowed to swear. Well, that's too late now, isn't it? I said that was a bad end credit scene. It was kind of just upsetting. Really, it wasn't funny.
It annoyed me.
Yeah,
I found it
exactly.
quite amusing.
Again,
annoying,
it was Marvel Studios just honestly just being bad to their fans. And just like in the Guardians of the Galaxy film, when we wait this whole time for what was it, Donald the Duck, Howard the Duck, Howard the Duck, and then I was just thinking, this is just terrible again. Whereas I genuinely was surprised and found funny this credit scene, but also understood what they were trying to do with the Spider-Man 2099 bit.
Okay, so moving on to our
Actually,
next.
wait. Actually, I've got one more thing to say. Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Actually, another thing which was really done well was the varying relationships between the between the different characters within the film. In that you had the Jake Johnson Peter B. Parker version who acted like as a reluctant mentor. It was it's somewhat predictable in what's going to happen in that Miles eventually over the course of the film will learn what to do, and Jake Johnson Spider-Man will become less jaded and kind of reinvigorated with life. But that was just it was a better mentor-mentee relationship than Tony Stark and Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
No, I disagree. I think that's more heartfelt.
Yeah.
What?
But what do we think about the sort of like twist where Uncle Aaron turns out?
That was wholly predictable.
That was very predictable.
Literally, the first scene with Uncle Aaron in it, I knew.
But it was very well done. I
thought.
thought.
That's just a lie.
No, I was like, he's probably going to be a bad guy.
I thought that the Liz's dad is the Vulture was a better twist.
Yes, no, I definitely agree.
I didn't see that coming at all.
No.
Yeah, but they really played that scene far too long. The scene.
No,
really
I thought it was
lingered.
brilliant though because there was just this tension. They kind of stayed and they dragged it out, and it was you really felt that.
I thought it was good.
Were you guys surprised when his uncle ultimately then got shot?
That was also kind of predictable.
Oh, by
Really?
Kingpin.
I was quite surprised about that actually, because I thought it was a really good twist on the typical Uncle Ben being shot, and then when the twist was that his uncle turned out to be the Prowler, the villain that was hunting him down, I thought they were going to leave it as that. So I was particularly shocked when Kingpin ended up shooting him. Again, perfect film, honestly, perfect film. Well, it world builds, establishes many Spider-Men well, and what more could you want?
Okay.
Perfect end credit scene, much better than many of the end credit scenes. Much more memorable and much better than many of the end credit scenes from any MCU film.
That's true.
Fair enough.
Okay, so on to the trailer topic. So Dexter, you've had some thoughts regarding the latest Marvel trailers and the sort of use of imagery that doesn't come from the film itself.
Oh yeah. So obviously we were all having a chat prior to the Avengers Endgame trailer being released. Josh, you were the one that started watching Good Morning America just for that trailer. And then, to be honest, when we all just pretty underwhelmed about the trailer, over the course of the day, it kind of sunk in more that obviously this is going to be a different kind of trailer to Infinity War because they want to keep the mystery of what's going to happen because we genuinely have no idea. But my main gripe now is that with all these trailers which the Marvel Studios keep releasing, they now not only leave bits out in the trailer, which is what trailers normally have been doing for the last 20 years or something, but they now purposefully edit and reshoot and do shots of different parts of the film, which are actually in the actual film coming out completely different. As in, in the Avengers Infinity War trailer, they've got that last shot of everyone running with Hulk. That was just Hulk was just never there. They actually filmed that just for that specific trailer, and that's not okay with me. It's deceitful.
So I think it's quite a good thing. I think it's good as long as they keep it with the tone of the film, and it sounds because the trailer is just there to get you excited and to give you an idea of what the film is about. It's not really for you to try and dissect the plot of the film before you watch it. And of course, that's what, we fans do. But for the general public, I think it's very effective at just getting you excited. And if that requires some sort of cosmetic change to a scene, such as editing out the Infinity Stones from Thanos' glove, or just shooting a whole new scene just for the trailer to get people excited, I think it's perfectly fine.
No, I agree with that. I mean, something else about the trailers that kind of springs to mind. I mean, obviously, I think you both said that you were underwhelmed right after you saw the trailer for the first time, the Endgame trailer. I mean, do you think that there's something going on at the moment that because of all this theorizing that's going on, they've taken so long to release the trailer and everyone's got these theories and leaks about what the trailer is going to contain that whatever the trailer is, it will never live up to people's expectations and hopes for what the trailer is?
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
I don't think that's true. In that, I'm pretty sure that the hype for Avengers Endgame is very high, but I'd say that it's probably about the same as the hype for Avengers Infinity War. Yeah, that trailer was just a lot better.
Yeah,
I agree that the Infinity War trailer was better, but I also think that they can give less away for the Endgame trailer.
We knew the plot of Infinity War before the film started.
That's not true. You had a rough plot of what was going to go on, but at the very end,
when all
the new Avengers died, that was a surprise.
Sure, but Thanos goes around trying to collect the Infinity Stones. We knew that was the basic element of the plot here.
We know so little. We don't even know how big a part Thanos is going to play in this film.
And from the trailer itself, it's not even clear what. I mean, if you haven't seen previous MCU movies, it's not clear they're trying to get the people back from the trailer at all, because it's implied, but it's not.
That could be anything.
Stated. Yeah, it's just
the only thing close to that is Black Widow saying that this is going to work, and everyone's saying, "Oh, that's some sort of time travel thing to bring back the people who got snapped." But
that reminds me, actually, the dialogue within this trailer is pretty abysmal. As in, if you rewatch the dialogue within the Infinity War trailer, it was very good. You had lots of cool one-liners, like when T'Challa says, "Get this man a shield," all this kind of stuff. Yet. And when Thanos says run from it, destiny still arrives. In this, is the writing just worse now? When Black Widow just says,
that was really
going to do. Even Steve Rogers, because Steve Rogers is normally pretty good at giving a speech and stuff, like his speech in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, when he says the price of freedom is high, but it's the price I'm willing to pay. That's good. Yeah, in this one, he just says, actually, what was it? Actually, it was a. I know it's gonna work because if it doesn't work, I don't really know what's gonna happen after that. That's basically that's terrible. And obviously, I
Yeah.
made it sound a bit more clumsy, but it's still not good at all.
No, I do agree with you about that. And plus, they give Black Widow the sort of clumsy line of he wiped out 50% of all living creatures, which just sounds cumbersome and irrelevant. Like, we know that already. Why do you
Yeah.
have to include that in the trailer?
But even then, like, we don't know anything. Like, everything that was filmed for this trailer could not even be part of the film, and I don't
But
like that
I'd be
anymore.
very happy with that as long as it sticks with the theme of what the film was going, or at least the first act. Because I think all the stuff you see in the trailer is just from the first, 30 minutes of the film. So maybe in the second trailer they'll give a bit more away. But
I don't know. I just think that it's just wholly dishonest now, and especially because an era of the MCU is now coming to a close. I've got my doubts as to what's going to happen with the people, the new characters taking on the helm, which is going to be left. Assuming it's even going to be left, actually. We don't really know what's going to happen, to be honest.
I mean, I thought that the Captain Marvel trailer was better. It made me more excited for the film. I mean, I was already super excited for Endgame, and I guess that might be one reason why the trailer didn't have as much of an impact on me as I thought it would, is because I was already sort of at maximum hype. Whereas for Captain Marvel, the trailer really got me more excited for the film.
I think the Captain Marvel teaser trailer didn't really say much about it, and I think a lot more of the plot was revealed in the main trailer, but also without spoiling anything.
Yeah.
No, I think they did well with the Captain Marvel trailer.
Yeah, Dexter, what do you think about the Captain Marvel trailer?
I don't know. I still think it's wholly dull. I mean, it's more predictable plot-wise. Why guys just sniggering? I don't know. In that we've reached a point now where there's such a saturation of superhero films, not just by Marvel Studios, but by all of these different other studios as well. And I'm not really sure whether all these new characters being introduced are really that interesting anymore. As in, Captain Marvel is basically just a female Green Lantern, basically, and that fighter pilot gets these magical powers of some sort.
But you don't know how they'll change it. So, for example, Spider-Man in the MCU is quite different to Spider-Man as we sort of commonly know him. He hasn't been bitten by a radioactive spider. His Spidey sense isn't mentioned whatsoever in the first film.
Yeah, true. A lot of people didn't even think he actually had it until, again, that scene in Infinity War when his...
Just one scene in Infinity War.
Actually, that was good, actually. What good film.
It was a good film.
Thanks, Josh. Thank you for reaffirming that. However, Infinity... to link... Would you say Infinity War is a better film than Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, why
but
definitely?
Very different.
Yeah, Infinity War is only as good as Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I think, in the context. If you just went into Infinity Wars, I'm not sure if it was the New York Times or maybe it was the Wall Street Journal, someone said, oh, it didn't make any sense. Well, it was the 19th film in a series, and if you start at episode 19, of course it's not going to make any sense. So I think as part of a wider universe, Infinity War is a better film, but as a standalone, Spider-Verse is more accessible and fun.
Yeah.
But Infinity War is intended to be the culmination of 10 years of world building.
Exactly.
It's a bit like when I went to go see Harry Potter, The Deathly Hallows Part 2, having never watched any of the other films.
But that film is actually bad anyway, and I have no idea why it's on IMDb top 250 because it's just not a particularly good film.
People like you messing with the system. Yeah, I'm calling you out, Rob.
What? Well, it's just not very good.
Okay.
Okay, so do we want to just give a bit of detail about our schedule plans before we wrap up?
Josh, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, so I think we're planning to do, is it every Sunday? I guess not this Sunday.
Yeah.
every Sunday or Monday, we will end up releasing
Hmm.
a podcast.
Is that strictly true, actually? As
Isn't it?
in,
And it'll
with the
mostly.
the traveling which I have to do in the new year to save the world.
I think
Yeah,
the
yes.
podcast shall live on, though. Even
Yes,
with
we will
with a
talk
smaller
about
cast.
Yeah, we could invite some guest speakers on because we might
What are you guys talking about?
replace Dexter. We might.
We're episode 1, and you guys already think of branch out to guest speakers.
We might talk about non-Marvel topics while Dexter is away.
Yes.
So,
Fine.
yeah.
Okay, well, watch the viewership dramatically lower when people start clocking that I'm not going to be there for 4 or 5
We're
episodes.
going to go from 2 to 1.
Rob, I don't like your attitude.
Right,
Okay,
anyway, yeah,
so I guess that's it.
we will see you next week.
See you next
Bye.
week.
Hi everyone, welcome to our inaugural Christmas podcast edition of our podcast. That was very good, I'm not going to lie. Should we redo that? If none of this gets actually put in the real thing, I'd be really upset with you. I'd be really
Oh
upset
no,
with
it will all go at the end.